It was about a $500,000 nonprofit
Okay.
governmental audit practice. Firm here in town decided to get out of that niche area. So it worked out well for us to kind of bring on a partner and a senior accountant. Well, actually, two senior accountants, one of which lives in Houston, Texas. So
Oh, wow.
we're branching into our first truly remote employee who is, like I say, in Texas as opposed to Pennsylvania or Maryland. So far so good. We're kind of, got today, December 1st was the effective date. So we're off and running.
Awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
That's great. Well, I hope I got that on the recording. I just started recording and you were talking about the merger. So if somebody comes in on that, they'll just get the tail end, but they'll figure it out.
Yep.
So, hi, John.
Hi,
How are
John.
you?
Doing well.
Good. Good. And you're all moved?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I don't remember who all, I thought somebody else said that they couldn't be on today. Now, let's see, Matthew, is he going to make it today?
I'm not
Michael?
sure. He's on vacation this week.
Yeah, that's what I
But
thought.
It's
Yeah.
one of those stay-at-home vacations, so I don't know what his plan is.
Okay. And I was hoping Corey would be on today, give us an update on Mark. Maybe, have any of you heard anything more since the first update?
I have not.
I
Okay.
haven't.
Yeah. Mark's wife and my wife stay in closer contact than Mark and I do. But yeah, it sounded like so far so good.
Good. That's good. Yeah, I would think more than ever now I'd be really nervous about the COVID thing. Man. And I'll tell you what, here in Indiana, we are the second worst state. The only one worse is, I think, North Dakota. And we're right there behind them, close. So, man, alive. My business partner, I don't know if any of you know Diane, but her father has COVID and he's in the hospital in ICU. There's Corey. And I think they're pretty sure her mom and even her son may have it because he had come down to watch over them while Diane and her husband were in Hawaii. And he didn't know that they were sick when he went up there. So now he more than likely has it. So, man. So Corey,
Hello.
wait a minute. Corey, did you have a beard the last time we saw you?
I've always had a beard.
Oh, you have? Gosh, is it longer?
It's definitely longer right now.
Oh, okay, maybe that's it. My hair is
Very
longer.
cold, here right now, and I ride my bike to work. It really helps keep.
Oh, okay. So let's see. Well, it's after 2. So could you give us an update on Mark and his daughter?
I've heard that his daughter's doing very well. Haven't heard anything negative about her recovery, so that's good. And Mark seems to be doing well. I talked to him a little bit right before Thanksgiving. He requested his laptop, so he's at least trying to work now, and I think he's probably getting bored.
Yeah.
But I think he's the word has been he's recovering, but it's a major surgery, so he's not back in the office yet. I'm not sure.
What would be the normal recovery time for something like that, where you actually have a transplant?
I mean, I think they said best case is 3 weeks to get back to some approaching normal function, but that's best case. So
wow.
We thought, I think realistic, it's at least a month or 6 weeks, and certain people take a lot longer than that. So we're hoping for the good side of that, and from what I heard is that his kidneys functioning way so much higher than he had before, so it's hard to adapt to that too with diet and everything, but just hope he continues getting better and can come back.
So the kidney though, they know it's functioning really well.
Oh yeah, he's got a 30-year-old kidney now instead of a 57-year-old kidney.
Wow. Okay. Okay, that's great. Okay, well, I don't know if anyone else will be joining us today. What I was wondering, I mean, we can talk, I mean, is there anything specific that you guys would like to talk about? Anything that's come up? Otherwise, I was going to ask if each one of you could maybe talk about like what would be your greatest challenge that you've had in the last month. Kara, maybe we can start with you. Maybe it's the merger. I don't know, but what would you say would be the greatest challenge either you or your firm has been facing in the last month?
Well, the acquisition hasn't been too bad. I mean, like I say, it was a rather small, I mean, $500,000 audit practice. So it's just been very focused here on the audit department. So I've been pretty much handling all of the aspects of that and having weekly and sometimes twice a week calls with the partner that we brought in. But certainly, I guess on the COVID front, the remote working, I think just continues to be a work in process. We actually just got increased restrictions issued here in the state of Pennsylvania late last week. Again, basically making teleworking mandatory unless it is, quote, impossible. So it's kind of up for us to decide what that impossible means. So, we've kind of said, look, we're letting it up to each of our staff to decide what is possible and not. If you can work from home, if you have a place set up and you can be efficient, you're to work from home. If you can't, then if it's impossible to work from home because you can't do so effectively, then we're still, coming into the office. Our office doors are still locked. They've never been unlocked throughout this process. Now we're still obviously doing handoffs at the door, or we've had client meetings in the office, which have now ceased. I'll say for maybe the last month maybe in all of our offices, we said, look, we're not doing on-site meetings at this point since we had an uptick in cases. But that's really been like the latest. And as we're trying to plan for busy season coming up here and really not knowing what state we're going to be in, we're anticipating we're going to pretty much be where we are today with an increase in cases and further restrictions, kind of forcing our work staff or our workforce to be at home. So we've equipped folks with the equipment they need. They have the extra monitors, scanners, printers, whatever they requested to be efficient. So we were doing that here in the last month, deploying that equipment. We go through our annual budget process this time of year. So that's been a challenge for us too, with regards to, you typically would look to the prior year when you're budgeting for the current year, but obviously 2020 is nothing like you would hope maybe 2021 is going to be, but who knows with regards to any number of things. So we've had a number of discussions around those things and what we're projecting fees to be and operating expenses and the whole 9 yards. So that's kind of been taking up a lot of our time here too in the last month, trying to pull those numbers together. That's kind of, I guess in a nutshell, kind of where we've been and just kind of some of your normal operating challenges and things that you have this time of year, but you still have the COVID element on top of that you're trying to manage, and it still, throws a monkey wrench into any number of things at any given time.
Yeah. So
Kara?
Go ahead.
So just curious, in your audit practice, are there situations, 'cause I'm not an auditor, so I don't know all the ins and outs, but just in talking to the head of our audit practice, he talks about walkthroughs that need to be done on site and inventory observations. How are you guys handling those?
Yep, those are definitely our challenges for some clients. We just had our CPE and audit retreat for our folks the other week, and that was a big topic of conversation with regards to assessing internal controls, the walkthroughs, the inventory observations, anything that you feel like you can't do remotely, how are you going to tackle it? And it's, kind of a case by case basis. As far as, we've been pretty lucky, I think, both in PA and Maryland here throughout the summer and fall months, where our teams have been able to get on site to do those items, even if it's just a quick, can I stop by for an hour or two to do the walkthroughs, to do the inventory observation. We've been certainly trying to do that as much as possible. So we haven't had many that I'm aware of where we've really been struggling because we couldn't get on site. Now, what happens here at year end remains to be seen, because 1231s, I think, are going to be a challenge if our cases continue, to go up as folks are projecting they will here with the holidays. So that could pose another challenge with exactly how you're going to do those inventory observations, or if you're going to be able to. And if not, then as you go into next year, if you can do something at some point and then do a rollback, to 1231, it's, you're going to have to figure out some kind of alternate procedure to be able to, test those inventory counts at 1231. Sometimes I think folks have been trying it virtually, which sometimes works if, folks are carrying around a computer and they're showing you, what their staff are doing and what have you. Some of those things, though, you have to be a little careful as far as whether everything is being done completely or not. But those are all definite challenges. And certainly in our latest restrictions, it's now we're also asking clients to make the decision whether or not we can come on site. Is it possible? Is it impossible? What are you willing to send us electronically so that we don't have to come on site versus, what can we come on site to do for a short period of time if you have the space for us that we can be socially distant and following all the protocols.
Do you anticipate that possibly your state would say you would not be allowed to do on site?
They haven't gone there yet. So unless they completely get us back to where we were in March, where, we were completely, in essence, shut down, like many states, I guess, were at that time too, which we're certainly hoping. And there's no indication that is where we're headed necessarily at the moment. So we're still hopeful that there is going to be flexibility as long as our clients are comfortable with us coming in. It was a tightening up of, where there was some flexibility prior to last Friday. The governor has just kind of put a little bit stronger language in the restrictions to really kind of mandate that teleworking environment unless it's impossible.
Now, do you mind, because years and years and years ago, I actually worked on the audit staff, and of course I know what year-end inventory observations are, but what's a walkthrough?
Well, like when you're trying to assess internal controls at an organization, a walkthrough is your ability to kind of walk through that control so you can document the fact that the control is in existence and is operating. It's not a test of effectiveness, so it's not like a control test, but it is exactly kind of a walkthrough, as the terminology states, is that you are kind of going through the steps with the individual or individuals at an organization and saying, show me your process for how you receive cash, cash receipts, cash disbursements, payroll. The key cycles in an organization are generally what you need to walk through to gain that understanding.
Okay, you just passed that question on the CPA exam. So, yeah, that was a new one on me. I hadn't heard anybody use that term before, so I appreciate you, educating me on that.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
now, John, you didn't admit that you said that you talked to the head of audit and he was talking about walkthroughs. Did he have to educate you on what that was?
No, Kara actually did.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, okay. So, well, geez, Kara, you don't have that many challenges. Geez.
No.
Okay. So,
No
Monica.
more than everyone else, I'm sure. We're all
Yeah,
juggling
so-
many things.
Yeah. So Monica, how about you? Anything big or something different come up over the last month, or is it pretty much the same thing? Only I'm sure it would be different. Your firm is smaller. Do you have much of an audit practice?
We do. I mean, it's fairly small. There's 7 partners and only one of those is audit. So I think that kind of gives you a flavor of how skewed we are towards the tax side here.
Uh-huh.
And he actually, thank goodness, doesn't come into the office very much, but just tested positive for COVID last week. So he's our first one in the office. Luckily not in the
Wow.
office though, I guess, but he's having a hard time, which is kind of crazy because he's a big cyclist and he's probably the most in shape person I've ever met. And it's just really knocked him on his behind.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. How old is he?
I think he's a year younger than me, so he's 45.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, that goes to show you, I mean, it can
I
whack
know
anybody.
it's very weird how it just affects everyone differently. You know, some people don't get any effects, and then other people are just knocked out. So it's crazy.
And
but-
when
but
did
I'm-
he come down? When did he come down with it?
It was not last week on the. I think he tested the week before Thanksgiving. We found out like
Wow.
the Friday before,
Wow.
Mm.
Okay.
and it's all his
So-
fault. I mean, he took a flight to Miami to meet up with his girlfriend. So I was like, dude, you're asking for trouble there.
Ooh. Ooh.
And he said he got on
Wow.
that return flight on American Airlines and, they weren't doing any, he said the flight was packed, people didn't have their masks on, so he scheduled his test right when he boarded.
Wow.
He knew it was gonna happen.
Oh.
Man. Yeah. Well, as an aside, the only airline that I know of now could be Southwest. I just haven't spoken with anyone who's flown Southwest, but the only airline that's still really sticking to it and everybody is just sings their praises is Delta.
Hmm.
They are still keeping all that those middle seats open. He said they are just fantastic on the way they board the plane and get everybody off the plane. So just in case you guys do have to travel somewhere or thinking about it, Delta is a way to go if it can get you there.
Yeah. I think Southwest is similar. I think they're still holding that middle seat open till at least the end of this year, maybe is what I had heard. So, but yeah, I don't plan
Yeah,
to
but
fly anytime soon.
As far as our
Okay.
challenges, unfortunately, November was not a good month for us staffing wise. We had 3 people leave the firm. So, and I knew once the
Wow.
first and second person, we've always said around here, I don't know if all the other firms are the same way, but they always leave in threes. So-
Threes.
Once that second person left, I was like, oh, who's the third? So we'll see.
Wow.
It'll be an interesting busy season next year. We're trying to plan. One of them was the intern. We just hired him in April, so not too bad. He moved home just to be with his parents. I think he was up here to go to college, and then all his friends left. And I think it was just too tough for him to be up here by himself. And then the second person who left was kind of similar situation. He grew up here, but I think his family had moved recently, and his brother had just had a newborn, so he kind of wants to go be the uncle and help out with the newborn. And then the third person, she's had health issues this year, and I think the COVID just put too much stress on her, so she just kind of told her she had already taken a leave of absence earlier in June, but then now she just said, hey, I don't, public accounting is not for everybody, so I think it was time for her to move on. But just a bad timing for us. We don't have much time to hire people before January, so we'll see.
Yeah. Well, that means that you're just going to have to work, Monica.
Yeah. We're
No.
trying to hire additional interns so we can at least get all the individual returns covered and maybe lean on our 1 to 3 year staff a little harder to get the business returns out.
Yeah.
Well, Monica, I can kind of commiserate with you because staffing has been a challenge for us as well. just, I guess we needed some additional staff with the acquisition, and we actually had a staff person leave here probably since our last call as well. She was an audit senior. And it's been impossible in our neck of the woods here to find anybody here before 12/31. So I do have a couple lined up to start in May. They'll be May grads from college, but we're going to be heavily dependent on interns going into tax season, both on the tax and audit side, for that very reason. We couldn't find a full-time or multiple full-time individuals to fill those slots. So that's kind of been a discussion point too, as we get into January and the COVID uncertainty is, what are we going to do if, first of all, colleges shut down? We have a couple interns who aren't from around here. So if they need to go back home, then we're going to be at risk, because
Right.
some of those are going to be working for us because the college is close to us. So a number of things there to kind of worry about, because it's, out of our control right now. But yeah, like you, interns are going to be a key
Yeah.
part of our staffing dynamic here for a while too.
And luckily,
Wow.
I think COVID kind of helped us actually keep one of our audit staff who's today, I guess, moved to Colorado. So I think our more senior partners who maybe were against telework have kind of opened up to it, and now we've been able to keep him on board. So he'll be working for us from Colorado for the next year or two.
Okay.
Sorry to jump in
And-
late. Time slipped right by, but just to jump in, same with us. We had a senior that was supposed to start in January that backed out, and now it's like, damn it, can't find a senior. So the search continues.
Man. Okay. Yeah, Lucas, what we're doing right now is going around and talking about what's been the, one or two biggest challenges we've ended up facing over the last month.
Yep,
So I am recording this so you can pick it up, if you
Thanks.
want to pick up the front end
Yeah.
afterwards. That reminds me, you guys, when I do this recording today, I'm going to upload it to YouTube. And then, when I send the recording out to you, I'll send it out and it'll be a YouTube URL link. So that way, okay. And then Lucas, so also Mark and his daughter both are doing well. And
Fantastic.
Corey's hoping for a good and quick recovery. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this YouTube video is going to go viral. Pretty sure.
I'm gonna make my kids watch it on loop so it gets the views up.
I don't know what's wrong. The reason I'm doing that is I've been having trouble sending out those Zoom recordings from Zoom. And I don't know if it's because it's going a little bit over their limit on, what do they call that? Housing the video in their
Storage.
cloud or
Yeah.
what?
Right.
Yeah. And so, I know that it works if I take that recording, even if it does go over their limit. If I upload that to YouTube and then send it out on YouTube, then it's no problem. So that's the way I'm going to do it. So anyway, there's that. So back to Monaco. So you think you've got this? Well, you don't know if you've got the staffing issue figured out. You've got to find some interns.
Well, yeah, and luckily, like I said, one of the people that left was an intern, so that's kind of, we thought we were adding a position, so we're just kind of back to normal. And then we did hire a senior. I guess it must have been around July or so. So we're hoping we can cobble something together to at least get us through April 15th.
Okay. And you did mention that in one way COVID helped you because the person who moved to Colorado, you evidently you would never have allowed this before, but now you're going to allow
I
him.
would have allowed it. It's my more senior partners that were maybe against it.
Oh,
So,
I
and
always,
even
Go ahead.
even the person who moved, they moved down south to be closer to their brother. We offered it to him, but he was kind of not sure what he wanted to do yet. So we just told him, hey, keep it in mind if you want to do remote, it's there for you.
yeah, I wouldn't give up on that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wouldn't give up on that. Yeah. Okay, so I was going to say that I just always thought that you and Matthew were the senior partners. So you're actually saying that you've got some partners that are old fogies?
Yes, exactly.
Be careful what you say there, man, because somebody else might see this video, this recording. Okay. Well, okay, John, challenges. You're finished moving, so that can't be a challenge anymore.
Yeah, no, having 15 people in a space that can hold 130 is just a little depressing some days.
Yeah.
But so I guess we're struggling with I did want to ask Corey if the police came to his house because he had too many people over at Thanksgiving.
No, I stayed home and was abided by all the rules. Had a Zoom meeting with my family.
But we've got we actually have a employee starting on the 4th of January, and she's flying here from Hawaii on the 3rd of January. Well,
Hey, doing one of my people. Hey, darn it.
we did win that award through Accounting Today that we're best place to work for young accountants. We're not exactly sure how we won the award, but we're taking it. So yeah, and so under the current rules, that person's got a 14-day quarantine. So the 14-day quarantine, if you tell us your flight plans, and I don't know what it is if they don't tell us their travel plans. So anyway, I guess we're trying our best to enforce that, and we ended up sending probably 6, because we were at about 25 people in the office. Now we're down to about 15. Sent, I guess, about 10 home. So just so the strange part is that our year end is October, and looking at the year end financials, we were up 7.5% over the prior year, and our costs were way down. It's like, what the hell's going on? Probably, even without the PPP loan, had one of our most profitable years ever. So, just trying to, like you were talking about, Kara, putting a budget together for next year. It's extremely confusing of what we should be counting on and what we should be. So we're kind of putting the PPP money just away as an insurance policy for the next couple of years. But,
That was going to be my question for you, John, is what kind of discussions have you had about the PPP money, and have you filed for forgiveness yet? Because I know those have been discussions that we've started to have at management committee, because I think we're in a very similar boat. We're a little bit up from last year, and really at this point, hindsight, did not need the PPP, but certainly with the rules that were in place, that were so unclear 9 months ago. We applied for it, as I think all of you did. So we're kind of starting to wonder, it sounds like the same as you, like, do you tuck it away for a rainy day, or, kind of what are you doing? So what kind of discussions have you had thus far on that front?
So on the forgiveness front, 3 weeks ago, we decided to apply for forgiveness. In a week and a half, we got a notice back from our bank that they had approved it and were sending it to SBA. And then within like 3 days, we got the letter from SBA
Wow.
that it was forgiven.
You already got the letter.
So,
Yeah, we got ours too
Crazy.
from SBA.
Wow, we only have ours from the bank, but nothing from SBA yet.
so yeah,
Wow.
so, we're in a little different position in that we, took on a large construction loan and our rent, doubled. So the way I'm treating it right now, we've got a executive committee meeting on Thursday, but my first draft of next year's budget pulls in a third of our PPP money into that year's budget. Just because of the, so we're budgeting some growth, but our expenses are going up significantly. So, and the other side of it is, well, you got to spend it eventually, right? You're just not gonna go bury it in the backyard forever. So anyway, so that's the approach we're taking now with, some, we don't really have, under the current rules, a tax problem, just because we spent so much money on TIs and furniture this year that we got the tax deduction. So yeah, weird times.
So John, did you say you had it like within about a week and a half from the bank, and then very shortly after that from the SBA? Is that about your timeline? Okay. And Lucas, did you say you applied? Was it similar?
We applied. Ours was a little longer. Let me go back and just check. I mean, but we got, it took, I would say, a couple of weeks from the bank. So on September 30th, they sent it to SBA, and we got November 12th, we got it back from SBA that they had approved the full forgiveness.
And when did you send it to the bank before that 9:30?
Sent it to the bank. We started it in August. So we were part of the bank's like pilot group to use their forgiveness platform. So we were sending them information in August, and they were trying to figure out how do they interpret it and So by the time that they got like all their ducks in a row, looks like was middle of September. It took them about 2 weeks to finalize theirs. And then it was about 6 weeks for SBA to do it.
Okay.
Okay.
But John, you did yours just recently?
Fast, it's lightning.
Or you
Yeah,
back-
yeah, we were actually going to do it sooner, but my office manager came down with shingles.
Oh, God. Oh, jeez.
That's the one time you're thankful for it though, because it wasn't COVID.
So we put it on the shelf, and so when we finally got back around to it, our bank had finally gotten all their things figured out. And so I think they were really quick. But yeah, that really surprised me how quick it came back from SBA.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
That's about it.
That's about it? Okay. Well, Corey,
Challenges, well, we're dealing with stricter COVID regulations right now for about 4 weeks. We had kind of had planned to have about a 3-week period where we just let everyone work from home if they wanted to anyway, so it kind of lined up nicely. But now we're getting towards the end of our planned time, and the state is kind of like Kara said, it's like they say do as much work from home as possible. It's not really like strictly shutting our office down or anything, but we definitely have stricter guidelines. Masks required unless you're in your office with your door closed, essentially. So that means all of our staff, if they're out in the cubicle, have to wear a mask all day. And so that's not pleasant for anyone. So I don't know what we're going to do for sure here when we were planning to come back. If we're going to let people stay or not. It's probably about 50% of people in the office overall, but you know, most of that's partners and admin who would be here no matter what. So our staff is doing pretty good about staying away. But we also have some new hires who we're training them now. So it's kind of hard to train people remotely. We're having, you know, seniors or managers who are working with them, take them into conference rooms to put a, you know, to work on a screen, big screen, instead of sitting at their desk with them if they're trying to be a little more hands-on. But and then staffing in general, that's the same issue everyone has. We're probably down 3 seniors from last year. We've replaced the entry level that we lost. I think we may have someone who just accepted an offer that has a few years experience, but that's going to be a challenge because we're not going to be able to replace all of those. I mean, some of those, one of those was our decision. So we were hopefully didn't lose as much as we would as other people because it was a low performer, but one of them that quit right after October 15th was a 5-year person who was very capable. So that's, we can't replace that.
wow.
Did they leave public accounting?
Yes.
Yeah.
They left public accounting, went to work with their sister in the mortgage industry.
Mhm.
So at least they didn't go to another firm. And then we're kind of just past the implementation period of a big technology change where we moved our network to the cloud. So for me, I've been kind of leading that. That means I haven't been very productive on anything else for the last 2.5 weeks. But we're hopeful that once we get all the bugs worked out, this will allow us to work a little easier remotely or anywhere, because since we'll essentially be in the same environment whether we're in the office or working remotely.
Corey, with the cloud, what did you choose? What's the package, or because that's something we've just started the discussions about too.
We chose NetGain. It's NetGain Cloud. So they have been a cloud provider for a long time, a few decades at least, but their focus was in like healthcare industry for a long time. Then about 5 years ago, they started moving into financial services and accounting. So when we originally started talking to them, they had about 40 CPA firms as clients. I think it's grown this year. I think they've had a lot of new clients just because the same reason we all probably are considering things like this is that it will make us flexible. So it's so far, I mean, there's definitely been some pains in the implementation and just making sure we meet deadlines and clean things up, but it's yeah. I'm hopeful.
Yeah. Oh, were you planning? Was your target to get it done by 12/31?
Yeah, I mean, we have to, but I mean, we would have done it earlier in the summer in a normal year, but obviously tax season was July 5th through July 15th, and then all of a sudden we're into the extensions immediately. So we have 2 months to do anything this year.
Yeah. How do you spell the name of that company?
NetGain, NETGAIN.
Oh, Gain. Okay,
Yeah.
GAIN. NetGain. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's netgaincloud.com is there, and so what they do is they just move your entire system to the cloud. It's not like using, CCH, just cloud versions of their programs or anything. It's just our servers are now somewhere else. And we log into that after we log into our local desktops. And hopefully our next round of hardware purchases is much less costly, as we won't be running, data, or, we won't be running anything on our local machines. All we do is access a remote desktop. So
Core, do you see CCH Tax, ProFX Tax? Is that what your tax software is?
yeah, we're using ProFX Tax.
And then what about like trial balance? Do you have like an engagement?
We use CCH Engagement.
Engagement?
Yeah. So, but it's just the premises version. So far, tax, when we were testing it initially, was actually much faster once it was on their servers. There was some slowdown once once everyone was finally on it. But we've been told to kind of anticipate that there's not slowdown, and in general, there's not. It's just figuring out some kinks and like with antivirus software slowing things down. And so that's why we have another 6 weeks or so before we're busy to get it all figured out.
Can I ask what the other guys, what you use for your tax and like engagement audit software, and whether you guys are in the cloud yet? Like John, what does your firm use?
Yeah, so we use Engagement and ProFX. Our IT guy explains our setup as we're in the cloud, but the cloud's in our basement, which makes complete sense to me.
Yeah. So are you on a terminal server environment?
I'm sorry.
So are you using the terminal services or remote desktop just it's to your own servers?
Yeah, it's this little box here.
Yeah, you guys do a VDI. But...
Yeah. So it works pretty well for remote. But we've actually been talking to a small firm about joining us, and they're using CCH Pro system, the cloud version, and they're a little bit older, but they're calling us the dinosaurs for still being on the on-prem version.
Lucas, what do you use? What's your like audit software?
We used to use Engagement, but we went to Thomson Reuters Advanced Flow.
Okay, do you like it?
That's their browser base. It's been pretty good. So originally it started off on Internet Explorer, which I hate, and it finally went to Google Chrome, like just in the last couple months.
Okay.
So we made that transition, still trying to get used to just a little bit of different interface. I mean, I definitely like it being completely online, and then we were using PPC Smart before, but they made that now what they call Checkpoint Engage. So all of that is also browser based. So that has been, so it's everything from programs and all of that is on through your browser. But then hardware wise, I mean, you're still using your laptop, right, to open, the programs, and you're opening Excel off of your computer. So we still have the hardware set up. But then most of our other like IT infrastructure is in Azure. So that's all sort of, we're kind of, I think maybe similar, John, to what you have, like a hybrid cloud where we still have the server in the office, but it's all synchronizing with Azure, and but the audit software is fully cloud.
I may have to pick your brain a little bit further. I don't want to take time today on the call, but we're exactly kind of at that point. We use CCH Engagement, and Thomson Reuters is one of the packages that we're considering. So just a real quick question, were the conversions from CCH to Thomson Reuters as seamless as they say they are?
We were coming off of Knowledge Coach and Engagement. They had a utility that would get all the files into Advanced Flow. But that was probably like 5 years ago. So I'm assuming they probably made it. It wasn't terrible, but it's still like we would find some binders that, you know how even like in any software engagement, all the TB links and stuff, their utility was supposed to rewrite those formulas for you, but it wasn't always 100%. So you had to kind of eat the first time you're going through that binder in the Advanced Flow, you're kind of looking out for those bugs and those hidden legacy Knowledge Coach or engagement issues. But yeah, I don't know that it's ever as smooth as Thomson Reuters tries to say it is, but I think once you get there, it's pretty good. But yeah, happy to circle back. We can do a screen share and poke around, whatever you want to look at.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. Corey, did you have anything else?
No, that's probably.
You actually, when you are on today, you sound tired. Now we know why you're tired. Has this been like a 24/7 kind of thing for you to try to get this thing done by 12/31?
I mean, it's not that intensive, but it's just been, I keep realizing how far behind I am on everything else. Because it's like I was essentially we have our network admin who's, kind of the first troubleshooter, but I know that the accounting software better than her. So I became the person who helped everyone with everything. That side, so.
Yeah, okay. So Lucas, big challenges that you've been facing.
The hiring, yeah, I think as we were all talking about, we probably need to try to fill a couple more positions, but we're trying to time it with bringing on some projects that, we expect to come online in January and February timeline. But those are more consulting. So we're also trying to find not only auditors, we're trying to find some analyst type guys that can work through issues for these projects. And I think, I may have mentioned this last time, I think we had a staff person come down with COVID. I think we're just trying to manage the staff through the holidays and getting through without any big hits. Now the only thing that's otherwise it's got me going is peer review next week. So that'll be.
Oh, are you kidding?
The remote peer review, because actually it's BPM. Well, Jeff Mock does our peer review, but his firm just got bought by BPM. So now Washington, John, you guys just went into the more lockdown. Yeah. So he's going to be doing it. He does a bunch down here actually, but he'll be remote. So we'll see how that goes.
We had our peer review.
Advanced Flow will make it easier. Yeah.
We had our peer review 2 weeks ago as well, and it was a more drawn out process because of the remote nature of it, but
yeah,
it got done one way or the other, but yeah.
Yep.
So is this one of these things where everybody's trying to get their peer review done before 12/31/20 or something?
Just your date.
It just happened to hit that way?
Yep.
It was just your, wow.
Just your unlucky year cycle.
Unlucky. Gee whiz.
Yeah.
Man.
Did you encounter more peer review comments that were kind of COVID related or challenge related on anything?
We did not. No, I wouldn't say they were a result of COVID or any of our challenges there.
Ours is next year, so we'll get a full 2 years of our period will be in this.
In this COVID environment, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Now, John, back to you for a minute. So your firm is about 100, is that correct?
Yeah, about 90.
Okay. And of course, you've got the new space, and so that should accommodate all those folks with plenty of room to spare. But right now, you've only got about 15 people in the office.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it's, you know, a few admin that can't, you know, really can't do their job from home. And then a number of us that it's impossible for us to work from home.
I'm with you there, John.
Okay. And-
But yeah,
and-
we have, gosh, 3 full-time people starting first of the year and 6 interns. And so we're just battling through, you know, a number of those folks were summer interns. So, and that was all remote. So we're probably going to just put them, you know, 100% remote from the beginning after they come pick up their gear. And, you know, we found that we can do training, you know, one-on-one training remotely with them. It's clunky and inefficient and drives our experienced people crazy because it's a pain in the butt, but we can do it.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the other thing on recruiting. There was a 200-person local firm here in Seattle, got acquired a year and a half ago by BDO, and they're just bleeding people now. I know right next door there's a remote interview going on. We've already hired one, so they're doing our job for us.
Nice.
Wow. Wow. And so, and okay, yes, I remember you mentioning that last time that, and then I think you were just hearing all the rumblings or something about everybody hates BDO or something. So, gosh, yeah. So any of the rest of you who need people,
I
wow.
don't work remote. I'm good for
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And Corey, you guys, you know, from the get-go, you were primarily having everybody come in if they could come in.
Well, we had
And-
we had our staff at home from mid-March to July 15th. We let our managers come back if they wanted to.
Okay.
But we had everyone back for 3 months.
Okay.
What's going to
Okay.
happen during the busy season? Seems unlikely
Yeah.
that we're going to have a packed office.
Right. But so you don't have any concerns about, since you were so much more used to having a lot of people in, you don't have any concerns about now all of a sudden nobody's going to be able to be in.
No, we don't have concerns about that. It
Okay.
is a challenge in the recruiting process because I mean we've made offers to some people and got back some kind of crazy demands of that it just wouldn't have worked at all, and so we're like, well, good luck elsewhere.
Okay. Okay. All right. Gosh. So none of you have any brilliant ideas on how you might be able to overcome this shortfall with hiring.
Well, for tax prep, I mean, there's all sorts of services that are sending out all these emails about back office staffing, and we use SurePrep as our 1040 preparation, how we gather all or organize our information, and they offer services for, outsourcing the input. We've never wanted to do that, but if necessary,
Mhm.
Yeah, we did a whole study on outsourcing this summer. Because and it, it ended up being this real circular thing where, when you hear that you're going to get charged 20, 30, $40 an hour, sounds like a real steal. But then when you do the math, well, what are you paying your current people? Well, I don't know, 30, 35, $40 an hour.
Mhm.
And then the whole training element that you potentially lose, that we came to the conclusion that, yeah, there might be some benefit there, but it's only for um, the real spikes in busyness where you don't want to work your people any harder. So we came to the conclusion it's really limited benefit that we could get.
And John, are you referring to, I think I remember you saying you used folks on your EBP audits. Did you outsource some of that to India?
So the plan was to do one completely remotely, but we couldn't get all the approvals. So what we did, and Carrie, you're going to have to help me with no, so it was like the SOC 1 or SOC 2
Yep.
thing that needs to go in the EBP audit. So we did
Yeah.
that, and
Okay.
it did a good job, but I mean, it's pretty trivial number of hours.
Okay.
Mhm.
I think we sent them $1,000.
Okay. That
Wow.
gives me a sense of, yeah, how little you use them. I was just wondering when you mentioned that months ago, it piqued my curiosity at that point.
The reason I had asked about if you had any other brilliant ideas, because each of you has mentioned, where we've all unfortunately been forced to become more, I guess I'll use the word adept. I don't know if that's maybe too strong of a word, at having people work remotely. That if you're really hard pressed, do you have to confine yourself to only looking for people in your geographic market area? Or could you go to a different state
Mhm.
and advertise and look for people and offer that they can work remotely? So that was the only thing. I was just wondering if that's just a kind of a dumb idea, or if it's something that maybe, I don't know how you go about it. But if you guys have people who do your recruiting for you, and maybe you're, kind of focused in on that, and kind of, know the ins and outs on how you might go about that, that might be an idea if you really, because it just opens up, more possibilities. So that's just a thought. I mean, and did any of you already, have any of you already thought about that, or even have attempted to do that?
We've started to think about it, Tom. In fact, I've just kind of told my HR folks here in the recent months that we need to start broadening our scope of where we're looking for. And of course, with our first employee here that's going to be in Texas as a result of our acquisition, certainly will be a test for us as far as, how well we can manage a staff that isn't able to come to one of our offices if we absolutely needed them to. So I have all confidence in the world it's going to work out. She's been working with the partner that is coming with the acquisition for like 9 months or so, 10 months or so now. So, and it's been working very well. So I think you're absolutely right. I think we're going to be forced to, look outside of our, 50-mile radius or 25-mile radius, whatever, we've become accustomed to, and really try and target those areas that we think might have the BDOs in their backyard where folks aren't happy, and, try and capitalize on some of that talent that's looking for a smaller regional firm as opposed to a larger, big four, top 100 firm potentially.
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing that kind of ran it through my mind, because John mentioned BDO last time and again this time. And while you'd say, well, maybe it's just the culture of that particular office, my bet is, based on my past experience, of course, I've been away from it for a long time, but BDO never had a good reputation as a very people-oriented culture. So yeah, any place where there might be a BDO office or any other, if you get the word. So, and you could use the, well, of course, then you're giving the ideas to everybody else, but I was going to say you could use the Alineo global network of firms all around the country to say, hey, you got it. Don't tell them why. Just say, hey, you got any BDO offices in your area? So, what the heck? Well, hey, it's 3:00. I felt like it's a good call. I didn't know what to expect. I think I told you that this was the end of where I had set up the automatic thing on our calendar. And if you guys still want to continue on the first Tuesday in January is the 6th. And from that point on, probably, unless first Tuesdays don't fall right for you guys based on your work. But if you think that continues to work well, I'll go ahead and set up a recurring appointment for the first Tuesday of every month and run it out through June.
Works for me.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
thanks.
Okay. All right. Well, then Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I hope it goes well for you, especially you, Corey.
Yeah.
We will all be sending you positive vibes. You please pass along our best wishes to Mark.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. And so I'll see you guys then after the first of the year. I'll see you on Tuesday, January the 5th.
All right.
Okay, everybody.
Okay.
Right. Bye, everyone.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.